guys in the chat. I was kind of peeking before we started, and I saw lots of you in the chat. Hi, Joanne from Ontario, Canada. And I saw Noemi a little bit earlier. Hang tight. Oh, hold on a minute. Don't mind that in the background. Hi, Diane. Let's see. We have Joellen and Cheryl, Noemi, Lynn, Joanne, Diane, all the Anns. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I think I hopped on maybe a few seconds too early. Hi, Denise. How is everybody tonight? It is Tuesday. It's Kelly and Candace. I think Leslie Roby. I want to say Marilee. Hi, everybody. Texas. Oh gosh, please tell us that you're okay in Texas. That's just insane what's been happening there. So sorry. Hi, Doreen and Selena. All right, so all I can do is read your YouTube names. So if that's not you, I know sometimes you pop on as kids or I don't know, friends, whatever. So I'm just assuming that you're who you are. Hi, Cindy, Northern Virginia. Joanne, is it on the, I know that's horrible for me to say. Is it on the way? There's just been a lot that has been going out over the last week with kind of the tail end of these kits going out, the people that ordered a little bit later, and then also the new stamps. So that has had us a little bit crazy busy. Hi, Cheryl, Lori from Missouri. Got people from all over. So everybody, welcome. There may be some of you that this is your first time, and if it is, welcome, welcome. Oh yes, I know. So scatter stamps started going out. What's today? Today's Tuesday. Scatter stamps started going out yesterday. More went out today, and then a lot more will be going out tomorrow. The stickers were a little bit delayed. Now they should be here tomorrow, which means lots and lots will go out tomorrow because a lot of you ordered the bundle that had both of the new stamps and then also the little scatter sticker in it as well. So stay tuned for your, well, you know what's on the way when you have, when you get your shipping notifications. So Melissa, howdy. So if you are new and haven't joined us or joined us for one of our bi-monthly Traveler's Notebook kits and one of our classes, welcome. Basically with the kit, we get together once a month. So this month we'll be getting together to put together March. So your kit right now has kind of two halves to it. The March half and then the April half. So this evening we will be doing March and then we will do April probably about mid-March-ish. So I haven't sent out the invite for that yet. Just stay tuned. Just know I'll make sure you have plenty of time. I usually try to give you at least 10 days before the start of the new month when I can. So welcome. You'll see me, I've been mentioning a couple people's names. There is a chat that takes place when the class is live, if you're watching live. So that takes place over on the right-hand side of your screen. I believe that you need to be in, you can't be in full screen mode. I think to see that, I don't know. It depends on if you're on your phone or a tablet or your computer or a laptop. But if you're not seeing the chat and you'd like to see the chat, just go to, just shrink your screen down a little bit so it's not full screen. But the chat, that's a great place. A lot of you guys, especially if you are doing the bi-monthly kit every other month, you start to get to know each other a little bit. Oh, Kim, yes. What did you say? A default view. Thank you. That's what you want. See, I'm never on the other end, so I just know what you guys tell me when somebody says, wait, I don't see the chat. Default view. That's what you want. Another quick thing that sometimes happens, and this is the case, riveting. This is the case for any YouTube generally video that you watch. Every once in a while with your internet connection, you may see things get a little bit fuzzy or a little bit blurry. If that's the case, 99 times out of 100, that is your internet connection. And YouTube will pick what it thinks is the best resolution for you to watch in. And sometimes it's great. Other times, if your internet starts to slow down a little bit, the resolution is too high. And it's super easy, and that's why you get blurry. Super easy to fix. There is a little gear icon at the bottom of your video player. in the YouTube video player. Just click on that and change the quality, and that will fix things right up. Let's see what else. Oh, in the chat, that is a great place to ask questions. So as we're working, if you have a question, that's a great place to ask. I put the kit together with you. So with this particular kit, the bi-monthly kit, there are no written instructions. We just get together and we work on it together. Chat is a great place for questions. Now, sometimes, oh, Doreen, I'll tell you about those in a sec. Sometimes I miss your question in the chat because if I'm working, my eyes are down and generally not forward. So I might miss your question. And if I do, just don't be shy, ask it again. Sometimes you need to really not be shy and then type it in all uppercase, and then eventually I'll see it. But don't feel bad if I miss it, because sometimes it's just what happens. After the video, if I didn't happen to answer your question, you can leave a comment, because I always see the comments after the fact. But that is in the comments, but not the chat, if that makes sense. But usually we're all pretty good, and it's good. Last thing that I will mention very quickly, if you are watching the live, and if you are watching the replay as well, you can always stop. You can stop the video at any time, even if you're watching live, and you can rewind it even if you're watching live. You can't fast forward it though, unless you've rewound it, because I haven't figured out how to do the time travel thing yet. So as much as sometimes you might want to say, gosh, I'd just like to fast forward her so she'd move on. The best thing to do there is just pause and then leave and then come back and fast forward. You can always come back and rewatch this at any time. Just know this is a private video. It's private in that if you were to go to my YouTube channel later, you would not find this video because it is meant for those of you that purchased the kit. You just need to hold on to that URL. You might be able to add it to your watch list. I'm not sure because I'm not on your end to know if that works or not. But I think maybe a couple people have told me that you may be able to add it to your watch list. So hold on to the URL. The little link that you clicked in the email. And if you ever lose it, just shoot me an email and I'd be happy to share it with you again. But you can come back and watch it anytime. Let's see. Hold on. I've got to get closer. Yes, don't share. Thank you, Kim. Yes, it's just special for you guys. So yes, I ask you not to share. The other bi-monthly kits from last year or this year. Selena, there are... I think the fall is still available, and I think the summer from last year is still available. If you go to my website, it will show you what's still available. I will tell you something, you guys. This month, for March and April, I upped the numbers because winter sold out very quickly. This one sold out very quickly as well. I was able to get scrounged together. I went to a manufacturer today and begged. I was able to scrounge together enough, I think, to put together maybe 6 more kits. And I put them up on my website today, and I imagine they'll be gone in the next day or so. All of that to say, don't wait. When the next kit comes out, if you get the email and you think, oh, I'm going to wait, or you forget, I never know. It's really hard for me to gauge, but I keep adding numbers and they're selling out. So I don't want people to miss out, especially... I mean, eventually someone's going to miss out, but I don't want you guys to miss out, those of you that, have been doing this for a while. All right, last thing before we move on. Someone just asked a question about my cameras. And I know I won't be able to see anymore. Oh, Doreen, there you go. I can still see your comment. These I have been collecting, oh my gosh, about 20 years. So you can't, there's a few more over here that you can't see that go out of view. But they're all old vintage cameras. What's kind of cool is that my uncle, my dad was a big photographer way back in the day and shot slides because back then that's what you shot. Both my uncles as well. So one of my uncles, before he passed away, came to my house. He was in from out of town and brought me a box of some of his, which I thought were so cool. But anyhow, yeah, those are my collections. I've been a scrapbooker, memory keeper for a really long time, like 24 years. So I've always been interested in cameras and photography and photos. So those kind of work. And then they're decorative too. So that's fun. I don't use them. I don't know if they work or not, but they're just kind of a fun little decoration. Okay, guys, I think we're ready. So this is what I'm going to do. I will flip the camera and then I need to bring in the lights. And I just realized I have on like a really warm sweater, which is probably not going to bode well. So I'm also going to turn the fan on. So let's see, I'll flip the camera first. When I do that, you need to hold on. So like when you're at Disneyland, arms and legs inside the ride at all times while we spin. It's gonna be like we're on the teacups for a minute, and I don't do teacups, they make me sick. So if you need to close your eyes, close your eyes. But really quick, we're going to spin. 1, 2, 3, spin. And now we get set. So let me bring the lights in. When I bring in the studio lights, it helps a ton with the shadow, but they're really hot, like really, really hot. And I was literally running all day, which is really unusual because COVID, I don't leave the house. I mean, I don't have COVID, but when you own your own business and work from home, and then when there's COVID, a lot of times you don't leave. So yes, I was at a couple different manufacturers today, and then went and toured a senior living facility for my father. So we're kind of getting to that state. That's a whole other story. I won't go there because we could be talking for a long time. Anyhow, too warm to wear a coat as you're running around, but not warm enough to not, be covered. So, sweater, which now I know I'm going to regret. All right, so bear with me while I pull in my little fan here. We joke, it's my own personal summer, right? It's that time of life. Oh yeah, duh. Okay, Lael, you can't. Did you see what I did there, you guys? That's the remote for the fan. Yeah, don't point that at the iPad because that's not going to work very well. Okay, come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh wait. Okay, got it. Hopefully, it's not very loud, so hopefully you guys can't hear that. All right, let's see. Oh yes, thumbs up. At some point, if you give the video a thumbs up, that would be awesome. Let me just really quick scroll through the comments to make sure I didn't miss anything. Fast forward to warm weather. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, Denise, never ever wait, order, or late. Yeah, and I hope that doesn't sound, a lot of you know me, and I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, you better get it because it might not be around. If I tell you that, that's really the case. All right, let's see. DTD. Okay, gotcha. I think I'm caught up. All right, friends. So whether you're watching live or whether you are, remember that way back when I was a kid, the is it live or is it Memorex? Whether you're watching live or whether you're watching Memorex, oh my gosh, you guys, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, oh Lordy, it's just like you were here, even if you're watching the replay. So welcome. Especially as life starts to get a little bit busier, I think, with more and more things I think are starting to open up a little bit. I'm from Utah, and I just heard on the news right before I jumped on that I think 630,000 people in Utah have had at least their first vaccine shot. And there are like 3.2 million people in Utah. So that's a lot. So I think what's starting to happen is things start to open back up again. We probably will see lots more people in the replay versus the live. But I love it when you guys can join me live so that I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay, have a quick sip of lemonade here and then we'll get going. Just curious, in the chat, if this is your first time, just let me know if you're chatting. Not first time chatting, but first time joining us. All right, so we are doing the March part of the kit. Hi, Cynthia's Crafty Corner. You're watching while having dinner. Wonderful. So the March part of the kit, the things I will have you get out. The Bunnies and Blooms sticker sheet. And I loved this collection. I thought it was so great to use for March because it's part Easter, but also part spring. Now, I do realize that Easter is in April, the beginning of April, but I wanted to use this collection for March because Easter's the beginning of April, and then maybe once Easter's over, you don't want to have so much of an Eastery theme in your Traveler's Notebook, or maybe you do. So, hi Danielle, welcome. Love it, love it, love it. I hope you will enjoy it. So the 12 by 12 sticker sheet, and then the 3 bunnies and blooms papers. So somebody mentioned the little bunny with the side eye. I know, isn't it so cute? I love this collection. I thought it was so cute. So that one, and then this paper, the 3 by 4 elements that we will cut apart. And then this paper. Oh, Jane, good. Your first time joining too. Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. And then you have a little bag, right? You had a little baggie that had some things in it. Your washi stick is going to either have, well, it's going to have rainbow either way, but it's going to either have pink little polka dot or yellow little polka dot. I ran out the very end of the pink, I think. I don't remember which one. Anyhow, you may have one of those, but those are basically, we're just using, well, you'll see how we're using them. You should have 2 little pom-pom pieces, I guess. You will have a cotton ball. You will have a little pom-pom paper clip, and then this super cute little gingham bow. There we go. So really, we could be using all of these, and that will make sense when we get there. But we could be using all of these for this month's kit, and whatever that we don't use, you will save until the next month. So what I am going to do, I am using the Mint Scallop Traveler's Notebook, and I always like to start out by talking just very briefly about your Traveler's Notebook cover. You do whatever you want. You do you. I always like to say you do you. If you have a red cover and you love your red cover, well, just because we're using pastels, that doesn't mean that you can't continue to use your red club cover. Or maybe you have a brown or black or navy or whatever color it is, your cover does not have to match the insides. Now, for me, it does, because that's just me, right? That's just what I do. That doesn't mean that you have to do that. So I always encourage you, if you already have a cover that works, then use the one that works. If you don't, or if you want to do something that's a little bit more coordinated with the kit, then I always have those as well. So I have, this was my setup for February. Oh, Erica, hold on. I think I saw somebody else. Okay. Joanne, I'm glad you said that, because I missed Erica saying this is her first kit class too. Welcome, Erica. And Danielle, okay, I think I have everybody so far, right? You don't have a yellow TN cover. I know, guess what, Kim? I don't either. You know what? I don't know if the world really likes yellow. Isn't that funny? Well, actually, I shouldn't say I don't have a yellow one. This is like one of my favorites, but it's mustard. So, well, yeah, it's mustard. But you really don't see yellow in Traveler's Notebook covers very often. Okay, but anyhow, I'm doing the scallop. This was my setup for February. To think about that for a minute. For February. So when I start, usually I know they don't like purple either, Joanne. I will tell you, I'm working on the manufacturer side because I worked for Simple Stories for 6 years. I will tell you, purple does not sell very well. And then Simple Stories started Carpe Diem. So then also, well, same company, but so I will tell you, after much prodding, when I worked for Carpe Diem, we did come out with a purple planner, and they sold okay, but they're just those kind of colors that are, I guess, a little bit on the fringe, and yellow, I think, is a little bit on the fringe too. That unless you're like a real lover, it goes a little bit, it's kind of like going a little bit out on the edge to manufacture something like that when you have to make a lot of them. All right. So this is my February setup. Now, if I was using the red again, I would take everything out. I would basically undress my Traveler's Notebook, because I would need to then fill it up again. In this case, because I'm not necessarily undressing it, I will leave all of these things here for now. Usually what happens is they end up staying there until I need to use red again, and I'm like, oh gosh, I better unload this. But what I will do is I will take out my 2 inserts. So these inserts, usually 2 inserts, will move with me from month to month. So these 2 are going to move with me, all right? And then we'll just put that over there. This can now go off to the side. I know, purple's hard. I know, so you know what, Joanne? I mean, here's the thing. If you're a purple lover, you are like die-hard purple lover. I once met a lady who loved purple. This is true. She loved purple so much that was the only color of clothing she wore. She only wore purple clothes, like ever. Only had purple clothes. Isn't that crazy? Like, that's commitment, right? That is commitment. And I don't care, purple, pink. Well, a lot of people will do black that way, but that's a lot of commitment if you are committing to just one color for your wardrobe. Okay, so these are my 2 inserts. The first thing that we start out by doing, actually, that's not true. Let me put these off to the side for a second. Let's start cutting our paper. So I'm going to get out my trimmer. Those of you that are new, especially if you have, well, let's start this way. If you have attended my Saturday sessions, this is a lot like that in that I just chit chat all the time, like the purple. We squirrel a lot, right? We just kind of sometimes go off in a different tangent. And then we come back. If you are completely new to everything, it's fun. We just, because it's me talking, although you guys are talking in the chat. Some of you talk in the chat. Yeah, sometimes we just chit chat. So what we're going to start out by doing is we're going to cut our paper. So let's go ahead and start out by cutting off the product strips. So the product strips are those little strips at the top. I call them product strips, barcode strips, whatever it is. Every company kind of treats this part of their paper differently. The way that Simple Stories does this is that the pattern on the product strip on one side, actually it wasn't like that, it was like this. That is how that looked when we cut it off, right? That is showing me that this pattern right there is what's on the back side. And then when we turn it over, we see the pattern right here is what's on the front side. I like to save these. And when we're done with the main part of the kit, I will show you how I like to use these when I do my monthly setup. So I set those off to the side. Let's see, someone's talking about going to bed. I love it though when I miss things that you guys can answer questions for me because, yeah, thanks, Kim. All right, so now let's get that one off and this one. And I'll set those to the side because I'll use 1 or 2, it just depends. So save those. And sometimes I actually use them in the design of the main kind of part of what we're doing. So it's always a good idea, especially if you cut those off ahead of time before class starts. It's always a good idea to hang on to those. All right, so let's start out with this piece of paper. For the most part, I always include a piece of paper like this in the kit. This is probably my favorite component of the kit is these little cards because these little cards are good for so many different things. They are great for decorating our pockets, which is something no matter what traveler's notebook I'm using, I always decorate the pockets because I like to open it up and have it look cute or pretty or whatever. It's just, that's what I like to do. So they're great for decorating the pockets, but they're also great for decorating our traveler's notebook inserts like that. So we'll kind of talk about that again in a minute. 99% of the time, we're always going to cut up these cards. But there is a 1% chance, every once in a while, I do something a little bit different with these. So it's probably best to wait to cut these until you either watch the video or we're in class. I'm not cutting very well today. It's always a good idea to wait, at least on this part, until we're in class or you're watching the video after the fact, just because every once in a while I do something a little bit different with these. All right, and now we can just keep chopping these little guys up. So these are all 3x4 cards, and we are cutting them just as you would think that you would cut them along their little designs. Yep, cutting them all. We are cutting them all. I always just like to mention that because I didn't always mention that. And one time in one kit, I had a piece of paper like this that was 3x4s. And then I had a piece of paper in the same kit that was all 4x4s. And so someone got ahead of themselves and thought that they would, actually I think a couple people did, got ahead of themselves and thought that they would, I'm just on the struggle bus, I tell you, kind of get things prepped early, and then they were sad because one of those papers we didn't do this to. You never cut straight. I know. Sometimes this is my issue. I always, ever since I started scrapbooking, paper crafting, whatever it is, and I've been doing it for a long time, about 24, 25 years, I have always stood when I work. So I stand, normally even when I'm just at the computer, I stand. But I stand. And one of the reasons I do that is it gives me a really good perspective. You kind of have a bird's eye perspective, so you can make sure you're cutting straight. What happens is that when I am filming like this, I'm standing, but all of this is forward. So I don't necessarily have a bird's eye view. I'm back here. So really, if I were to have my bird's eye view, which helps me cut straight, this would be like all the way here and I'd be here, which then it would be kind of hard for you guys to see. So every once in a while, it's just not straight because of that. All right, so our cards are ready to go. Next up, both of our papers. So with both of these papers, let's take a look at how I have used them in the kit. So darn cute. Can't get over him. Okay, so I have used the bunny side of the bunny paper to cover one of my inserts, and I have used the yellow flower side of that paper to cover the second insert. Now, paper's always double-sided, so you have a choice. If you're like, oh, I'm not really a big yellow fan, you could just flip it over and use this side instead. Or if you're like, oh, I'm not much of a bunny fan, well, you could still totally do it. We just have to get a little creative because if you're not using the bunnies, you need to switch things up a little bit. But you could use this side. So I always try to make sure that the choices that you have on the other side, if you wanted to switch it up, will work for you. All right, so these two papers, we are using these to slip cover our inserts. And we'll talk about slip covering in a minute for those of you that are new. The inserts that I use are called standard wide. So standard is 8.25 inches tall and wide is 5 inches. So, and this is pretty much exclusively standard size traveler's notebook that I use. This is a standard insert. So you can see the difference between a standard and a standard wide. That's quite a bit, right? It's almost 3/4 of an inch. And when you open it up, 3/4 and 3/4 on each side. That's an extra 1.5 inches that you get by using a wide instead of a standard. So I have carried forward my inserts from last month. I'm just recovering them. So what you're seeing me do, see how all I did was just take that right off? It's because we create slip covers. The reason why we create slip covers is because once February's over and you're ready for March, you have no more love in your life. You're like, get the love out of here. I'm ready to move on. You really probably don't want this in March. And you may, and there's nothing wrong if you do. But if we slip cover, it makes it really easy for us to redecorate the beginning of a new month, or really redecorate anytime we want. I always get asked, with these, what do you do when you're done with these? So if you have other Traveler's Notebook inserts that you need to slip cover, you could certainly continue to use these. But a lot of times what I do is I'll just take off, yeah, that guy. Well, actually what I ended up doing here, I would probably come in with my trimmer and just trim that part off. Then I could use it on a card. I could use it on a scrapbook page. I could make a tag out of it. I could use it as a bookmark. But then same thing with what's over here. I could make a card, use it on a scrapbook page, yada, yada, yada. So really, you don't have to throw these away. I think you could for sure do something with these. But we'll set those off to the side. To make our slip covers, we need to trim both of our papers to 8.25 inches tall, or 8¼ inches tall. We are crooked. Hang on. It's always hard. Which way do I go? Which way do I go? Let's see if that does it. Oh, my bracelet caught in that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so our inserts are 8.25 inches tall. So we want our paper to be 8.25 inches tall. And here it doesn't really matter how you cut it, other than you probably want your bunnies facing the right direction, right? So this is where I would cut it, right here. It means I need to rotate my paper as I put it in my trimmer. And I'll go to 8.25 and trim. Now, either way I do this, I'm going to end up cutting off part of the little bunnies. And that's just what's going to happen. They're still happy. See, they're still smiling, even though they don't have their ears or their eyes. It's okay. They're good. Denise, perfect. Denise gives her covers to her granddaughters to play with. Exactly. You can do lots of things. Oh, Joanne, that's great. She decorates the inside of her traveler's notebooks with the slip covers when she's done with them. All right, so that one is now 8.25 inches tall, right? 8.25 inches tall. And we leave it at 12 inches. And I'll show you why we leave it at 12 inches in a minute. We're going to do the exact same thing with this one. I'm going to cut it to 8.25. Now, I'm going to cut it from this side, even though I know I'm using this side, but I'm going to cut it from this side. In case you decide you want to use this cute seed side instead of the yellow, you just want to make sure you have that right side up. And so that when you wrap, your seed packets are facing the right direction. And that's, again, only if you're doing that. All right, the next thing that we need to do, this little guy, we are going to trim to 8 inches. That's the leftover. So that's what we had left over after we cut this guy off. Or, yeah, 8 inches. So it's 12. We're just going to go to 8. All right. Then, this is so funny. I had a little sticky note on here reminding me of something. I want you to take this piece that you have left over. This piece I want you to put back in your bag. This piece needs to go for the April part of the kit. We're going to use a little bit of this for the April part of the kit. So take this piece, don't throw it away, and you'll put it in with your April part of the kit because we'll use that for a little bit of that for next month. All right, so now we have those pieces. We can put away our trimmer. Okie dokes. So to do our slip covers, we're basically going to take that bunny paper and I'm going to end up covering my insert. Remember what you said about sticky notes? I know, Cheryl, right? Because guess what? I think, isn't that so funny? Lord only knows where it is. I always joke about sticky notes because I think sometimes sticky notes are the devil, right? Because look at what I did. I had put a sticky note in here somewhere to say, remind everybody to save the yellow. Actually, we need a little piece of that yellow. Just bring it back. We'll use a little bit of it. Then there's a piece left over that we'll use for next month. Yes, I had it. And it's funny because when, I'm not worried. I think I showed this in one of my Saturday classes and I go, oh, look, there's the sticky note that reminds me to do this. I know I said to myself, oh, I better remember to put that sticky note back. Yeah, Lord only knows where it is. So we're good. All right. We will need to come back and cut that again in a second, but don't worry. All right, slip covering. So if I want my bunny paper to be on the outside, I am going to fold the outside in. All right, so I folded the outside in. If you have a scoreboard and you want to score that instead of fold it, just pull it out and you can do that. The reason I like to fold outside in, now we'll fold outside out. The reason that I like to fold outside in when I start, sometimes when you're working with pattern paper, see if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that very well. You might not be able to see it very well in either of these just because, there we go. When I folded this one, hi Marie. When I folded this one for last month, I folded the outside inward and then covered like this. The reason I did that, you can see here, I think, if I hold that up, do you see how the fiber of the paper has broken right there? And you can kind of see it's kind of jagged and you can see the white core of the paper. That happens sometimes when you're folding paper. And there's really not a lot that you can do about it. But what you can do, that if it happens, will always occur on the fold. So if you fold outside in, then your breakage is going to occur on this part, which really is not the outside, it's the inside. Does that make sense? So we folded that this way. We folded the outside in. Any breakage now is going to happen here, which we don't care because it'll be on the inside of our notebook. And then we shouldn't have any breakage there. Now, every once in a while you will, and you will. So I always like to talk about that because I think that's a great tip for if you're making cards or whatever you're doing with your pattern paper. Outside in. That you put it somewhere to the upper right of your table. And Rashida, I am so impressed that you remember that. So it was up here somewhere. And yeah, that's after probably 10 tornadoes came through here, right? All right, so I take my insert. Now I move my inserts, I just move them from month to month to month. This is my monthly insert that I personally use every month. And I always come in and decorate each month at the end of our session. So this just moves from month to month to month. And I make a new slipcover for it every time. Your kit will always include one single traveler's notebook insert so that you have that. And it just depends on how quickly you're going through an insert, what you're using an insert for. Yeah, so you may go through inserts quicker. You may go through inserts, may take a full year, like something like this. Anyhow, that's why you have one in your kit. All right, so to do our slipcover, I'm taking my insert and I am putting it right in the center on my fold, like that. Then I open the inside cover, like that. And I'm going to rotate this just because it's easier for me to see if I do that. Still in the center. And I want to just fold this up. So I generally, as I'm folding up, I'm using that edge as my guide. The edge of that insert is my guide. Okay, there we go. I have now part of my slipcover done. So slipcover, depending on how old you are, you may remember the process of slipcovering your textbook when you were in grade school, right? You had to slipcover it. Make a cover for it. A lot of times it was with a brown paper bag to protect your textbook. And you would decorate it and add stickers to it and draw hearts and put the boy you had a crush on, his initials in there. But then you had to either do them backwards or do them one off because you didn't want him to see it. Because if he saw it, he would know you liked him. Anyhow, you made your slip covers. And throughout the year, sometimes your slip cover would start to fall apart and you'd make a new one, or you just wanted to decorate it differently, so you'd make a new one. That's basically exactly what we're doing here. We're just making a slip cover, but not so much to protect it, it's more to decorate. So we're halfway there. Now, what I don't want to do right now, and I know it seems weird that I will talk about what I don't want you to do. We'll talk about what I don't want you to do before we talk about the right way I think to do it. I don't want you to now do the exact same thing on this side. I do not want you to do this. You'd think, oh, I get it. I know what she did the left side. I'll just do the same over here. Well, that works fine until you go to close it. Once you go to close it, you're going to have a little bit of a problem. It's going to bow because it needs to have a little bit of room to make it around this curve. So don't do this, right? Let's try to open that again. Don't do this. Instead, do this. Close it and wrap this around on the back side. That is going to make sure that you have enough little extra bit of paper to wrap around that curve, the back side, and then you'll use your little fingers to make the crease right there. So it is basically exactly what we were doing here when we used our fingers to make the crease. Here, I'm using my fingers to make the crease again. So not measuring, I'm not, just using that little guide. There's my crease. And then I will just lift it up. So I lift it up like that. Lift it up and then tuck that right under. That makes sure that I have enough to completely go around without that cover bowing, because we don't want it to bow. All right, let me look at something real quick. Yes, or you got a new boyfriend, right? Sometimes you had to change it. Linda, welcome. This is your first live. You've been binging all the videos, just put the first kit. Love it, love it, love it. And I hope that you're doing okay in Texas. We talked about Texas a few minutes ago because I think we have another Texan on. Changed boyfriend, new slipcover. Kim, you remember the name of your 8th grade boyfriend? I probably do too, right? It's the first one you never forget. Okay, so now what I like to do, and this is just my personal preference, you don't have to do this, but what I like to do is I like to round the corners. The inserts typically have rounded corners. So I like to round the corners, and that's just a preference. If you would like your corners to be nice and square and have a right angle to them, then you just leave it that way. But I like to round. So, over here. I am going to pull out my corner rounder. I use, actually, let me talk really quick. The washi that you have in your kit, that is what the washi is for. If you would like, generally, if you just take a couple turns off of that popsicle stick, and you can washi right like that. That is just temporarily going to hold your slipcover on until you're ready to take it off and do the next month. Now, when I pulled these off, you noticed I didn't have any washi. As long as your inserts are staying inside of your Traveler's Notebook, you really don't need the washi. Those aren't going to slip around a lot, but mine was slipping around a little bit as I was working with it. So I'll do that. I'll do my washi. And you don't need a ton, because the idea is just to temporarily secure it for the month until you are ready. Hi, Regina. Not your first live, but it's the first class live. Welcome. I'm glad you could join us. All right. So now I will do my little rounding here. And I alternate between this big giant corner chomper and I have a little corner rounder too. Generally, when I'm rounding something like this, you're going through at least 2 layers of paper, right? The front and the back. And then sometimes you might nip a little tiny bit of your insert. So if you have maybe like a corner rounder that maybe you bought at the dollar store or something, just be careful. Just know that you definitely are going through 2 layers and sometimes 3. So sometimes your little corner rounders that aren't necessarily super sturdy, sometimes they'll have a problem going around that. Oh yeah, there's my other one. Okay, so now, let's get this other one done and then we'll start decorating our pockets. I think usually I do pockets first, but I didn't. All right, so again, we're going to go outside in, so fold the outside in. So here we go. We'll do the same thing here. I'm folding my outside in. My outside is the yellow, so I want that to be on the inside right now. Those little seed packets are sure cute though, aren't they? It's on its way. Oh, good, Regina. Well, that's fun that you're still hanging out with us. All right, and then we will flip that. Like so. Same thing. Open to the center. I rotate just because it's easier for me to see. That's not like some fancy technique or anything. That's just me. That's just me needing to see. And we just that over. If you ever are working with smaller inserts, then you would just, trim your paper based on the height of that insert. There are wider inserts. If you are working with a wider insert, you may not have as much room. Your slipcover may just barely go over the edge, or you may not even really be able to slipcover at all if you're working like with a B6 or something like that, a wider insert or an A5, something that's wider. Okay, and here we go. I just love this yellow with the little pink. I think it's so cute. I'm just curious, is anyone not doing the bunnies? Like, is anyone like, I think I'm going to go non-bunnies this route? Because seriously, you could. There's so much good stuff in this collection. It's kind of half and half. It has a little bit of a split personality. And that Easter, let's do that. Easter, and then a little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot of spring, a lot of flowers. So you always have plenty of washi. The washi that you have is designed to basically give you enough to have a little bit of washi to do both of your slip covers. And then if you decide you don't want to use it for that, then you can use it for something else. You could use it for decorating your inserts or whatever. Yeah, see that one, it's okay, but you could hear it, it has to work a little bit harder because it's going through, well, it's just different. It's not as strong or sturdy as the other one. That fan needs to do its job. I can't believe I didn't even think to, what a silly choice it was to be wearing a big heavy sweater. No bunnies. Okay, Lynn, yeah. Oh, Lynn and Kim. All right, so I'll be interested, you guys. I'll be interested to see how you switch things up because there's a lot of different ways that you could switch things up. But if you want to share in the Facebook group, I would love to see what you do. All right, so here we go. And I'm proud of you for still getting the kit with the bunnies. All right, we're going to come back to these. Let's go ahead and get our pockets ready to decorate. Depending on the configuration of your traveler's notebook, your cover, it may have pockets, it may not. It may have this many pockets, it may have more pockets, it may have less pockets. So generally the ones that I carry on my website, they have some variation of pockets. The Doodlebug ones, like the one that I'm using here, the mint scallop, they have a window down here. But really, there's a lot of different ways that you could set up your pockets. You could even do this if you didn't have pockets. Because basically you could build all of this on one piece of paper, and then you could just, with very little adhesive, just adhere that one piece of paper right over whatever you have right here. So it can be pretty flexible. This is funny. Now I have, I always have to have two of every traveler's notebook that I ever use when I put a kit like this together, because I have the decorated sample and then I have the one that I now need to do with you guys. But then this one I have three now because I also have another one loaded up with the year in review. So it's kind of funny. I have quite a collection of traveler's notebooks. Alrighty, so I will keep this little guy off to the side so we can see what we're doing. Let's move some things around here a little bit. Let's get what we need. We'll need a few pop dots or foam squares. We're done with our washi. Get that out for the minute. We're done with our corner rounder. We can put those guys off to the side. All right, the more room we have, the better. Okay, so let's take a look at the cards that I use to decorate my pockets. First of all, look at that. Do you see something's missing from that card? I do this a lot. So I took this card and I fussy cut the bunny, and that is what we're going to do. But as we're doing that, I want you to keep in mind that I have used what's left over right back here because I want, wait, what is that? That's not that. Hold on. It's this one. We actually cut both of those. When we go to cut this one, we're going to take what we have left over and it is going to tuck right back there because I wanted that yellow. I really liked the yellow. So I'm still using what's left over of that card, but that's going to go back there. So let's put this card up there. We know we need that one. Then we have that is part of this piece. So we know we need that. Then underneath, we have that little card. Even if you're not doing the Easter theme, we're only going to see that little part up there. We won't see the hippity hop, hippity hop, hippity hop. We won't see that. Next up, we need this card. Then we need part of this. We actually need two little pieces of that. So we'll come back and cut that. This that's right here, that is that we have left over. So we need that. It's not from here. It's that piece that we had after cutting that piece. And then we need a little bit more of the yellow. What I also use, just so you know what cards that you have left over, if you want to switch anything up. So for here, I used the back side of one of these cards. So after we talk about the other cards that I used, then you can decide which one you think that you wouldn't use for the back. I used this pink. So that pink went right there. And I think I probably didn't use this one just because it was a horizontal or a landscape card instead of a portrait card. So that will be that, and that will go there. And then that will be the pink one. Okay, so the ones that I did not use, there I used my little sun. So these, and we use that little guy. These are the cards left over that I didn't use. So the little gardening one, the Choose Happy, the rainbow, which I love that rainbow, so stinking cute. Have you ever seen like a little plaid part of the rainbow? I loved that. This Bloom Baby Bloom, and the bunnies in bloom. So those are the cards that I did not use, but you know, you do you. You can decide you want to use some, you don't want to use some, but now I will set those off to the side. So let's start fussy cutting. A lot of times I will take elements from some of the cards like these two, and I will fussy cut them. When I say fussy cut, here's the bunny. That's what the bunny looks like when it's left over. He looks like a die cut because I cut him off away from the card. Same thing with the little butterfly. I cut the butterfly away from the card. So grab your little scissors. If you have small scissors, I know some of you have bought these little fussy cutting scissors from me. Even if you don't have fussy cutting scissors, find the smallest pair of scissors that you have. That's, I think, the easiest way to fussy cut. The smaller scissor that you have, the better. So if you only have one big pair of scissors that has a blade on it that long, then that's okay. Get what you have. So I am going to come in, and as I fussy cut around my butterfly, I am not having any yellow around him. Sometimes I'll leave a border, and you'll see, we'll talk about leaving a border with the bunny, but I'm just coming in with my little fussy cutting scissors and just cutting that little butterfly out. So we get a little bit more dimension, right? We take a fussy cut object and we put a foam square or two behind it, then it gives it so much more dimension as opposed to everything being flat. And a lot of times when you're working in your traveler's notebook, you don't really get to work with a lot of dimension because it's pretty flat. And if you're using your traveler's notebook and writing in your traveler's notebook, then generally a lot of times you don't want dimension. You don't want a lot of layers because then it makes it a little bit harder to write. But when it comes to pockets, you can totally beef up your pockets. All right, so when we get to the little antenna, we pretty much have to have, well, for me, I have to have yellow around them because, especially since they're not connected, it'd be really hard to not have little yellow around those little antenna. And I'd probably lose my mind trying to get, by the time I was done, they would be non-existent because they'd be uneven, and yellow would be on and some not, and I'd keep cutting and cutting and cutting, and the next thing you know, they just would not exist. They'd be little pieces of antenna everywhere. All right, so there we go. This is my favorite. I seriously love to fussy cut. When I look at like a full sheet of 12 by 12 paper, a lot of times I don't look at it as a piece of 12 by 12 paper. I look at it as, oh my gosh, what could I fussy cut from that? Now, the way that I came in on that, I came in from the side and then fussy cut around. Remember, I said we wanted to have at least like the top half, either top half of that piece, so we would be able to see a little bit of yellow up here at the top. So even if you cut through part of it, it'll be okay. Because the cards are pretty much going to cover it, but I did want to have a little bit of that. So save that, not garbage. All right, next up, we are fussy cutting. You guys are talking about Brian. Wouldn't it be funny if Brian knew that we were talking about him? Okay, next up, the bunny. So for those of you that aren't doing the bunny, you can decide here what you want to do, because you may decide that nothing goes there. You may just have your cute little yellow, but there are a lot of stickers that we don't use, a lot. So I Love Spring we don't use. That little butterfly we don't use. We don't use the umbrella. We don't use Love Makes Everything Grow. So lots of pieces that we don't use that you could use in its place, little bunny's place. All right, now with this guy, I did leave a little bit of a yellow border, just because I thought it would make it just a little bit cuter if it had a little border around it. Same with the whiskers. I do need to leave a little bit. Well, clearly I have to leave a little bit, or those whiskers will be all over my table. And nobody wants whiskers on their work surface, right? That's like one of my pet peeves. My husband's really good about knowing not to do that. Our boys, not so much. Our older son, Jack, he lives in Washington State, but he has been home with us since mid-December. He is up there studying to be a chef, and everything is closed. The restaurants up there just barely opened to 25%. And he works at a really nice seafood restaurant on Puget Sound. And they, like most restaurants, can't operate at 25%. It's just too hard. So he has been with us here in Utah since mid-December. He decided he's heading home in a couple of weeks. He's like, it's time. And I'm sure he's anxious to get back. And anyhow, he, will get out a razor and, shave apparently. But then I come into the bathroom and I'm like, what in the world happened in here? There's just whiskers everywhere. And that's like the biggest pet peeve. So we don't want whiskers on our work surface. So just leave some yellow around them. That's the squirrel. That is the squirrel. That's our friend Scatter that has to make his way back in. See, I tied it back, right? I tied it back to the bunny. You guys were like, where is she going with that? Sometimes I forget where I'm going, and then it's just, yeah. But that one, I tied it back. Alrighty, so those are the two pieces that we are going to fussy cut. This I am not using, so that extra is garbage, but I need that. All right, so as we start to load this guy, let's move this so you guys can see. This guy just goes about right here for now, so just kind of tuck it in. And I will get everything, once I get everything done and decorated and placed, I will come in with just a tiny bit of adhesive, and I'll just strategically place a couple of little pieces of my tape runner in there so that these things aren't large. But I like to secure them temporarily until I'm ready to move out. But I don't do that until the very, very end. So there we go. Next up will be this guy. That is a layer that goes on top, but we'll pull that back out again in a little bit because we need to do something fun with that. Then we have this little piece that will layer in next. And then we have this piece. And I don't know which way this is supposed to go. I have a feeling that the card probably goes this way. I don't know if it's right or wrong way, but I wanted the card to go this way. So if it's upside down, I want it in there upside down because I want to be able to see those little flowers. Okay, so everything else I have in here right now are stickers. So I'm going to wait and I'll come back and adhere those stickers in a minute. Yes, all roads lead back to Scatter, or a little Scatter. Let me have a quick sip of lemonade, hang on. Okay, so next up, we need I have to cheat. Hang on. I had to see what piece we needed. This is what we are using. This guy is that little tiny piece that we're using for next month. So now I know what we need. Let's trim off a 3. Let's see, hang on. Grab your trimmer. I want there it is. 3, there. Set that now with your April part of the kit. I better put that somewhere or else I'm not here. Let's put this in here. I'm going to put it in here because I'll be like, what did I do with that? And someone will say, you put it up in the right hand. I'll be like, oh yeah, that was a long time ago. All right, so now I'm going to cut 2 more pieces that are 3 inches. 3 inches and 3 inches. All right, don't let your trimmer get too far because we may need to just trim those down a little bit depending on what you're going to do down here. All righty, so now this piece is going right in there, and it's going to be a little bit right justified because our bunny will go right there. Next up is this piece. So what goes in next month? The 3x4. So we cut 3 3x4s of that little yellow. One of those 3x4s you want to put in with the April part of your kit for next month. All right, this is the piece that we had left over after we cut the 8-inch piece. And this piece I want to go right in here. Depending on what you have down below for a pocket, you may need to trim this little piece. This piece happened to slide. This is what came in the Traveler's Notebook, so I'll take that out. But you can see how that piece just slid right in there. If you don't have a little window like that, you could just cut part of it off. We just basically want enough of that plaid pattern to kind of cover up that cream or white part of the pocket. And then this piece went down there for me. But it is too tall, so put right there. So on this one, I'm using 2 of the 3 3x4s that we cut. The third 3x4 that we cut is going into the April part of our kit. All right, so I'm gonna put that there. If you don't have a pocket right there, if you wanted, you could take that piece and just, with a little tiny bit of adhesive, adhere it right to the top of whatever's right there. Or if you have just a, let's see, I'm just trying to find something. Oh, that's a different configuration. Well, let's just pretend. So if you had just a pocket like that, that had pocket right there, you could just like put that right over the top. You can decide what you want to do if you don't have a little window pocket. Okay, now we are, let's see here. Let's move this up a little bit. This little guy will be there. And this little guy, they kind of tend to continue to move around. What I want us to do, so it has time to potentially dry, I want you to grab this piece out. That one. This, we are going to make a pom-pom card. We're going to use that to make a pom-pom card. And when I say pom-pom card, this is what I mean. These little pom-poms are adhered. Now I've got to pull this apart. To that. It's my pom-pom card. So you really don't see much of this card at all. We just saw a little bit of the top peeking out. The reason I do the pom-pom cards like this, and you don't see any of this paper, is so that if I wanted to use the same pom-pom card next month, I could just slide it right in that little side secretarial pocket, and you would never even know if that didn't match because you don't see it, right? You don't see any of that. The only thing you see are the double pom-poms. So let's go ahead and make our little pom-pom card. And there's two ways that you can do this. Hang on, let me get one of the ways. One of the ways is with the stapler. And one of the ways is with liquid adhesive. Yes, Denise, one of my favorite things. I love to do the pom-poms in the Traveler's Notebooks. And when you're done with the month, I don't ever throw these little pom-pom cards away, although I have a lot now because I do them every time. Well, with any kit that I do. I don't ever throw those away because any month that these colors would work, you can throw it into that month setup. Or if you were just decorating a different Traveler's Notebook that's not specific to a month, you can always use those cute little pom-poms. What we're going to do this time is we're going to do a double pom-pom. Most of the time in the kits, if I do pom-pom, I do a single pom-pom. I was just trying to see if I had one handy. Oh, I think maybe here again. Let me see. Nope. A single pom-pom. Every once in a while, I like to do a double because a double's fun. It just gives it so much more dimension. Sometimes you do them twice every time. I do. Mini glue gun. Yes, that would work. The easiest thing, I think, is a stapler. When I'm doing a single pom-pom, I usually will do a liquid adhesive. And you may decide if you've liquid adhesive that you want to do liquid adhesive, but because you are basically needing to adhere like two different layers, one on top of the other, you may, well, I won't do this now, but you could use your liquid adhesive, but you'll want to let it dry. So you'll want to like get this on there really well, let it dry, and then come back and do the next layer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to staple. So you can decide kind of how far apart you want those spaced based on how tight or how taut you're pulling that. Yes, right now, oh, I get it. Yes, sometimes I do it twice. Yeah. Okay, so in the My Sweet Dad, a lot of times he cuts things for me for my kit, so I have no idea why this one is so long. The one that I have is very long. So I will come in like this, get that up to the top, and you can also decide, actually, I want to leave that little space right there because that's where my pink one will go when I double layer. So I come in like this, and I'll just take my little stapler. If you have like the Tim Holtz tiny attacher, that works too. I keep saying I need to get some more staples for that because I have no idea what happened to them. No idea. So even your regular staple works though, right? So notice how I'm leaving space right there. I need to be able to have room to do my other pink in between the white. And I suppose you could do this, the pink and the white together. That's probably just too confusing, or too confusing for me to try to do leaning forward and showing you guys. All right, so we'll just keep doing that until we get to the end. And let's see. Don't mind me turning things around and around. All right, now I will come in and trim off the little ends. Well, one end. All right, now we have the pink. Fan of the Speedy, yes. The stapler definitely is faster than like hot glue gun. I know because I've been also working with the hot glue gun. I'm making one of those coffee filter wreaths. You guys know about those where you take white coffee filters, like a gazillion of them, and you iron them, and then you make a coffee filter wreath. They're really cool. But anyhow, the glue gun happens to be out right now because I was working on that last night. Alrighty, so now I will staple these guys, but see how I put the pink in between the white? When it comes to pom-pom trim like this, you can find pom-pom trim at like Hobby Lobby, probably Joann's. I buy it, a lot of it, so I buy it in bulk from Amazon. Just the one thing to know about pom-pom trim is that the little pom-poms, they sell the trim, the little pom-poms are not always the same size. Well, all of these are, but sometimes the pom-poms are 8 millimeters. Sometimes the pom-poms are 12 or 15, or so just kind of know. Some of the pom-poms are really big. And so like this, if you didn't know and you were buying pom-pom trim that was really big like this, it would still be cute, but there'd be some really big pom-poms. Not necessarily bad because you'd think it would look cute. It would just be really hard, I think, to have a lot of pom-poms in there because it might make it hard to close. Yes, all different sizes. They all look like little pom-poms till you get them home. I understand that, yes. When I order them, they always say, this one's a 12 or this one's a 15. So I always try to pay attention to that so I know that I'm not putting either little dinky ones, because there are little tiny ones too. I mean, if you're trying to do something like this, the little tiny ones just really don't, they don't really have much of an impact. All right, there we go. And then I will trim off the extra pink. Like that. There's my pom-pom card. And pom-poms, this little pom-pom trim you can usually find in tons of different colors. But it's just kind of fun. So there's my pom-pom card. And that went between the yellow and this guy. So we just move things around, partly get some of these little guys, they're kind of stuck. Sometimes they're covering things up, like covering up my little staples over there. All right, so there's the start. Now let's get that out of the way. Move these, move some of these things, and bring this guy back in. Okay, first up, this spot right here. I used this little butterfly. And I didn't just stick the butterfly down. I took little foam squares. So sometimes I use little ones, sometimes I use big ones, depending on what I'm adhering. So I'm going to use my little ones. And I just want to add little ones behind those 4 wings. That will give that butterfly some movement. And what I mean by movement, when you see it here, stop, outline. Oh no, I won't. I'll do it. I know, right? Stop, outline. See how that little guy has movement? You see how it's not flat? And it's not flat because I put those little pom-poms. I put those little foam squares underneath there. So I kind of fold it in half at the center. And then that little guy will go right about there. So it looks like it actually has a little bit of movement. What Kim was talking about is the outline. So I outline all the things. I outline the cards, I outline the paper, I outline the cards on the paper, and that's just something that I do. So what Kim was saying is I need to outline. Generally, what I do, I will outline before I put the cards in because it gets a little bit harder to do if your pieces are already in the pockets. But I forgot. So I'll do them while they're in the pockets, like that. To me, it just makes such a big difference. Trademark, I know, right? Oh, Denise, I get it. Now I know what you meant. When you said trademark or no trademark before, that's what you meant, huh? The, doing my outline. Now I get it. All right, and I'll just show you. Look at the difference between the yellow on the left and the yellow on the right with the outline. I don't know, it's just what I do. I just love it. So I do it on everything. And you notice how I'm rotating? It's a lot easier to rotate whatever it is you're outlining as opposed to, I'm just gonna go fast here, trying to rotate your arm like I just did there. All right, now we're good. Now we're outlined. All right, so now we have a big space right here. And I'm choosing to put some stickers there. If you didn't want to put stickers there, well, you have more cards. You could put another card, just tuck it right in there just to give it a little bit of color. You have, remember these left that we didn't use? Well, that blue would be really cute. So you could put that blue there if you weren't kind of going the Easter route, because what I put there is this little Easter basket. So Easter basket goes right there. And you notice that's part of my traveler's notebook. That is part of the cover. Oh, Joanne, I'm sure, right? It's hard. I know it's always hard when we try to hit at least all 4 time zones to make sure it's not too early West Coast and not too late East Coast. But absolutely, you can, just watch the rest of it later. Have a good night's sleep. So that sticker is actually going to go onto my traveler's notebook. That will come off later, but if that makes you nervous, or if you have a really nice, beautiful leather traveler's notebook, you might not want to do that. If you didn't want to do that, I would probably put a piece of paper in there first and then stick the sticker onto the paper. All right, so that goes there. And then we have this big open area here. Before we do anything with that big open area, I want to just tuck my little bunny in there so I see what kind of I'm looking at, what kind of room I have. So I have a little bit of room right here and then a little bit of room right here. In this spot, I am going to take this flower that's to the left of You Are Sunshine and a foam square. So I want that to pop up too. I want more dimension. As much dimension as I can have on my pockets, as far as I'm concerned, the better. And that little guy will kind of go right about there. I just kind of want to fill that space up a little bit. Then it bugged me that there was a purple flower there and a purple flower there. So I took this little plaid heart and I put that plaid heart right over that second purple flower, or the first purple flower, the one that was on the pink flower. This little spot right here, I'm taking the daffodil. And the daffodil, I'll just kind of go right about there. So we just decorated up a little bit of that white space. It was a little bit too white for me. Okay, next up, we'll come back to this guy. We're not done with him yet. Over here, we need the little sun sticker. And I think this sun is like the cutest thing I have ever seen. Ever, ever, ever. All right. Again, we're not going to adhere him flat. I'll take a little small pop dot right up there behind the top and kind of put that about right there so that the top part of him is lifted. Right here, I'm using this little word that says Hello Spring. And Hello Spring will go probably about right there because this butterfly is going to come about right here. Don't worry, we'll still come back and address him. I also did pop dots behind those 4 wings of the butterfly. So 1 on each wing. Pop dots. I call them pop dots, foam squares. I mean, I guess technically they're foam squares, but years ago when I started scrapbooking, they really were pop dots. There was a sheet that had little dots that popped out. So I've just always called them pop dots. All right, so I'm kind of folding that like a butterfly, right? We'd think their wings were kind of going like that. So I kind of fold it a little bit in half. And that one will go right about there. But using that, using the little foam squares, just again, really helps to kind of give that guy a little bit more dimension. All right, right here, we have this little rainbow. Rainbow also gets a pop dot. It amazes me how much dimension that you get, like how it just changes things. That's okay, he's a little bit different than the way I did it the first time, but that's right. How much it changes things by just putting a little bit of dimension behind something. Alrighty, so now, I think before I go any further, I want to work with this guy. In your little baggie, you have a cotton ball. This isn't to take your makeup off, although you could. I have a little hangnail. I just noticed that. I actually have a few on this hand, so don't. Yes, horrible habit. Eventually that'll make it on one of my bad habits list. Anyhow, so you have a little cotton ball. So I'm going to pull off 2 pieces and just kind of start to shape them. I want these little cotton balls to go on the bunny's ears, the inside of the bunny's ears, the white parts of the ears. So there's 2 times a year that I put a cotton ball in the kit. One time a year is December because it's Santa's beard. And the other time it is March or April because it's bunny ears or bunny tail. I just think it's cute. So don't worry, no other cotton balls generally make it in except for these 2 months. And if you have issues with cotton balls, I know some people do, it's like a texture thing. Yes, the cotton ball goes a long way, really does. See, I mean, look at it. If you didn't know any better and you didn't see all that part, you wouldn't know that that I did anything with it. Kim still has most of the last 3 cotton balls. Yes. Anyhow, so they go a long way. Like you'll see, look at. Now that could be cute, but then his whole entire ear is gone. So you decide how much cotton ball that you want. It's actually kind of cute, that much. But now this one doesn't have as much. And then you get into you're going to take a little off of one side, a little off of the other side, and then it's uneven. And yeah, that's right. They don't have to be even. I'm sure the regular bunny's ears aren't even either. But if I did that. So now is when I need my little liquid adhesive. Q-tip size cotton. There you go. I've just got my little liquid adhesive and I'll just put it on the ears so the cotton ball will stay. If you did not want to use cotton ball and you have any kind of dimensional adhesive, so maybe you have little Nuvo drops or something like that, you could use Stickles glitter glue, but you could, and it's kind of, you can kind of see with the glue, although you wouldn't leave it with glue because glue is clear drying, but see how it just made a little bit of like puffy white? If you have puffy white stuff, like puffy paint, right? You could put that in the ears, whatever you want to do. Let's see now. I'm sure these are going to be totally uneven. That's all right. And then as you start to get them down, if you feel like you need a little bit more glue in a spot, you can add more glue, but it's just kind of a fun little way to add a little bit more dimension to your little bunny. Yes, one is definitely puffier. That's all right. It's not an exact science. I could probably get my scissors and trim that guy down, but I won't. All right. Next thing that we want to do with the bunny, and the bunny is still floating right now. He doesn't look so sneaky. Kim, that's so funny. Oh, Kim, so this one is Lawn Fawn. I think I linked this in the email when I listed the supplies and I suggested that you bring some liquid adhesive. This one is Lawn Fawn, and I like it because it's a little tube. And it's just handy. A lot of times I use the Nuvo, and Nuvo is, hang on, I'm just gonna grab a couple things to show you. Okay, so this is Nuvo. And if I'm working on a bigger project that needs more glue, this is generally what I use. This Nuvo Clear Drying Craft Glue. Then Scrapbook.com recently came out with, do you need to squeeze it? Not really. Outline all the things, I know, right? Just a teeny bit. Just really a teeny bit. And I always store mine upside down. So I store mine upside down and it just fits in my little, my little stash and store that I use here. So the glue is always kind of where it needs to be. The other two though, and I haven't cracked these open yet, but Scrapbook.com also started making craft glue. You're old. You're not old. You may have arthritis, so that I can't argue with you, but you're not old, my dear. I don't care how old you are. You're not old. Scrapbook.com just started making clear drying craft glue. So I bought these because I wanted to try them out, but I liked this little size. I thought, oh my gosh, this little size is kind of cool. And I bet that, I don't know, you might be able to pull off the thing and refill it. I don't know. I'm sure it's not made that way, but this was like a really good little portable thing to, if you're crafting on the road or something like that, then anyhow. All right. So the Lawn Fawn is usually the one I use when I'm in little spots like that, just because it's always right here in my little guy. So we needed our liquid adhesive, whatever kind of liquid adhesive was, because we need now where did that go? We need our little, well, gosh darn it. We need our little gingham bow. All right, friends, where did the gingham bow go? Doo-doo-doo. Well, I guess I'll just show you. Did I put it somewhere? For travel, yes. Yeah, the little one, exactly. It'd be great for travel. It'd be great to just throw in your little bag. Definitely less than 3 ounces, for sure. Oh, and the little baggie. Well, Kim, where would the little baggie be? Right? I don't know. Oh, here it is. All right. So when I say I stand all the time, when I'm teaching, I stand on one of those little like foam mat things that you sometimes, well, I buy them Home Goods or whatever, but that people stand on in the kitchen. So when I'm teaching for like 3 or 4 hours, I stand on that, and it was on that, and never mind. It was on the floor. Long story short, it was on the floor. So there's that cute little green gingham bow. And that little cute green gingham bow is going to go, if you are using the bunny, right here, just right there at the bottom on his little chinny chin chin chin. Now, if you have a glue dot, you could probably use a glue dot, although that little knot in the bow, well, I use liquid adhesive because I think with that, it's gonna stay. So you just have to hold it for a minute, right? We have to hold it for a minute so it will not move around. But now we have our cute little bunny. See, now he doesn't look as mischievous, right? Now he doesn't look as kind of mischievous. Then I can just adhere him right there. So I think it feels like I put a little, yep, I'm losing him. I didn't hold it long enough. He's adorbs now. He is, I know, right? Now, generally, if you put the little bow under his chin, well, then he's kind of a boy. If you put the little bow up here, then it could be a girl. Well, I don't mean to add gender characteristics to the bunny rabbit, but you could put the bow either under the chin or on the ears. Either way, whatever works for you. All right, then that will just go right about there. And that little pop dot is what is holding him down for now. I mean, yeah, my little pop dot. Okay, there we go. Now I've just got a little space right here. So I grabbed 2 of the Easter eggs. This one over here and this one up here. So the light blue and the purple. And these 2 I'm also pop dotting. So 1. Gosh, I'm so thirsty for some reason. One, 2. So just a little bit of an angle. That little guy went right there. And then this one actually overlapped and went a little bit onto my pocket. All right, now we have this little area. I always like to decorate. No matter what's there, I always like to decorate. Even if there's no pocket and it's just, you know, the traveler's notebook itself. Like in this case, for next month, there's no pocket. So I just put my sticker right on the notebook itself. Okay, so I did Happy Easter right there. And then I did this beautiful flower. Right about there. And then this little hummingbird. And the hummingbird is right about there, wherever it goes. Sometimes things are in different spots depending on how I rotated them. All right. When you go to move out of your month, so when I go to move everything out of this traveler's notebook, these stickers may stick a little bit. And if they do, something like a little bit of goof off or goo be gone or whatever that's called. The stuff that gets stickers off of, you know, your price tags off of things that you buy, that will just help get it right off. And you don't need a lot, but if I have that happening, then that's what I do. Move that around a little bit to cover my staples. All right, so that is where now I want things to be. So what I'm going to do, because it slid around a little bit, I will take my tape runner and add some right there so that sticks down. And then actually the rest of this is pretty much in there because there are things that are adhering it to other things. So the only other thing I might do is just tack this down a little bit so it's not kind of hanging up in the air. And our pockets are done. Undo. Can you use undo on something like that? I have never tried. All right, so there we go. There are our pockets. And you guys, ever since I started using Traveler's Notebooks, I have always done this. I have always like really decorated the pockets because it makes me happy. So generally in this Traveler's Notebook that I use every month, oh good, undo works too. Every month when this particular Traveler's Notebook, I use for my calendar, I use for my to-do list, things like that. So generally, if I'm opening it up because I have work to do. So if I can open it up, even though I know I have work to do, open it up, this makes me happy, and then I can get to work because I'm happy. Okay, so now our pockets are done. Now we need to decorate our slip covers or inserts. So let's start with this guy. And in this case, I will do my outlining first. If you outline your inserts, you might want to do this. Open that up and do this part of the outline first. because sometimes if you try to do this on that curve, you go whoop, and then it accidentally goes over the edge. And if it goes over the edge, it goes over the edge. It's not a big deal, but sometimes if you open that up to do the outlining, it's a little bit easier. Okay, then the two cards that we used. I used that for my background and used this guy for my foreground. I wanted the pink to be a frame for this card. So that means this piece needs to be cut down. I'll grab my trimmer. I would like to have probably a 1/8 inch border of pink, which means I need to trim. Let's see, I need to trim a 1/4 inch off of one edge and the top. And I can do that, only do 1/4 here and a 1/4 here instead of having to do 1/8 all the way around, because there is no pattern on here that I have to worry about being centered. If I am doing that and I have a pattern on there that I need to worry about being centered, then I'm better off doing 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, or it looks kind of weird because it's not centered. There we go. Come in with my tape runner. And there we go. So that will go right there on my insert. And when I do this, generally I like to be about, I don't know, I don't usually go in the center. For me, I like to go about the top third. So you decide what you want to do, but I generally don't like it centered top to bottom. I like it the top third. Kind of like how you hang something on the wall, right? You wouldn't hang something generally on the center of the wall because it would be really weird. You'd hang it the top third. Okay, so now we have another bunny. You have 2 bunnies. Well, actually you have 3 bunnies that you could choose from, and a goose. I think that's a goose, right? Oh, look, perfect. Kim said, mine is going to be plaid with the hummingbird bloom, baby bloom card, hummingbird bloom, baby blue card, matted in blue or pink. See, I think that'd be really cute. All right, so you have 3 different bunnies that you could use for the center of your little frame that you just built. I used the side-eye bunny. If you wanted, you could use the gray one. I chose not to use the gray one just because we already have a gray one over here. But you do you. Bunny, goose, umbrella, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to use this little white bunny. Or cream-colored bunny. And basically the entire bunny is getting pop dotted. So we'll do 2 on the ears and just 1 in the center of his little head. That'll be enough. The ones you have squiggled on, you've gotten compliments on. Easter goose. Whoever heard of such? Yeah, Easter goose. I don't know, unless you're having goose for dinner. I don't know. Okay, there we go. There's Bunny. And because this bunny had a little bow, this bunny was sad, needed a bow too. So we get this little cute yellow bow. And that goes on the bunny right there. But don't stick it all the way down yet. Just put it under Bunny's chin. Because now I'm taking Happy Spring. And I will, again, some foam squares. Like that. And we'll go right about like that. But see how this guy just goes down, but that little part goes on top of Happy Spring because I wanted it to do that. Just gives it a little bit more of a dimension. Everything's not so flat. Then I'll come in and do my outlining on the card. And actually, the outlining coordinates really well in this collection because you have all of the features on the bunny are black. But even when I'm working with something that has no black, I still do this. All right, last thing, Bunny's hungry. Bunny needs a carrot. And a little carrot will go right about there. And there's our first slip-covered insert. I'm going to leave that out for now though, because that's also my monthly insert. And when we're done, I kind of decorate on the fly. So let's move that off to the side. And now we need to do this one. That yellow, if you hate yellow and you can still look at that piece of paper and say you still hate yellow, I don't understand. It's just so bright and cheery and happy. Funny though, because I can't wear yellow. I would love to wear yellow. Like I see a brunette with yellow on. It's like, oh my gosh, not all blondes can wear yellow. I can't. So I just have to live vicariously through paper. Okay, there we go. And for this one, this is pretty simple. Usually my second insert, I usually keep pretty simple just because you don't see it as much, right? Let's be honest, that's why. Look on the sunny side, and then we just outline that one too. Top third. And it's kind of boring, so we need a few other things. Down here, we will add this larger little plaid heart and these little flowers, little yellow flowers. So they are going right about there and right about there. And then up here, I did this little plaid sticker. So the plaid, that plaid tab kind of matches exactly with the plaid heart. So I kind of popped that right up there. And then took this little sticker that says lovely. And I put that every once in a while. They don't kind of, the die line is a little tiny bit off. So I'm just going to cut off with that bottom because there was just a little bit of like a white color on there. That goes right there. And my second insert is done. Okay. Kim, now most people do see my second insert the most because I take it into meetings. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, so this guy, now I will put in to my Traveler's Notebook. There we go. But this guy, I'm still going to play a little bit with. When we get to this point of our class, oh, actually, let me mention one more thing. Your pom-pom paperclip, I think there are maybe 5 or 6 different colors. So you have one of 5 or 6 different colors. You could, if you wanted, put this pom-pom clip into this setup. So if I wanted, I could just stick that right there and it's still super cute. Now, when I put them in, you can decide if you want the paperclip part showing, then you can do that. And you can have it showing either the little tiny part or the larger part, right? But sometimes I don't even, okay, I'm having a hard time here because that big pom-pom's in the way. Sometimes I don't want the paperclip part showing. And if I don't, then I just tuck that whole thing right into the pocket and then it's just kind of cute. So you can decide, for the most part, I think all the pom-poms are that kind of pastel-y color. So you should, whatever pom-pom you have, it should be able to mix it in with the pockets if you wanted to. Now, when we get to this point in the video, in our class, I always kind of do a little ad hoc planning here. Normally, I'm using my monthly inserts quite a bit. Normally, I travel a ton and my husband travels a ton, but not so much so since really for the last year. So my January is kind of blank. My February is kind of blank. I'm going to do March. So this time in the video, I always pull out my Kim. I am so confused. Maybe I had a little autocorrect there. Or I have no idea what that word means. No idea. Kim typed, this is the Lagniappe, Lagniappe part of the monthly class. Don't know. You're going to have to help me with that, friend. Life is blank right now. It's a French word. Okay. All right. And what does that mean? I don't know what it means. Hopefully it's not least favorite. You're from New Orleans. A little extra. Yes, it's a little extra. So here's the deal. I need to know how to pronounce that because clearly I pronounced that not correctly, not properly. All right. Yes, life is blank right now. It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? What card is that? Rashida. Hun, I'm not sure when you were asking. You may have paused at some point. And now I'm answering you, but you're not here yet. I'm in the future. So I don't know what card you're asking about. Hopefully I answer. Land, yep, but no D. No D. I don't see a D. Okay. Anyhow, so Rashida, once you get here, then hopefully you found what you needed. And if not, just reach out after. Okay, I need another quick little sip. Yes, this is the extra. Because all I'm doing, you may or may not have a monthly insert, but I like to take what I have left over now and decorate my month. So if you have a monthly insert or if you use weekly inserts, if you don't use any kind of insert like this, for sure, save your stickers and do something with them. If you list with us on Saturdays, for sure keep your stickers because as we get into March, I will start using some bunnies and blooms in our Saturday sessions. So you can save those or just decorate your inserts. Even if you're making notes and lists and whatever, I will always keep and use almost everything off of here because even if it's just, a plain little note or list, I'll use them because why not? All right. Okay, I know 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know that Saturday's the 13th. Oh, no. 13, yes, it is. Okay. So generally, I just like to make sure that I do this first so that I know what's what. And you notice I use a pencil because you never know, right? If you mess something up. The reason I do this now as opposed to after I'm decorating, I have done this more than once, where I will, if I decorate first, and let's say I put a sticker right here, when I go to number things, I go 10, and then there's a sticker right there, so I completely forget, and then that would be 11, like I skip a whole day. So I label everything first, and then I'll come back in and write it, or stamp it, or stickers, or whatever it is. 30 days past September, April, okay, 31. All right, so let's see. Now, I definitely, for March, won't use Easter, because Easter is in April. So who knows? I may use that in April. Denise just asked, are you going to be using Simple Vintage Cottage in a Traveler's Notebook kit in the future? Well, that's an interesting question, Denise. I would love to. However, Simple Stories is sold out of a ton of it. It sold extremely well for them. There are products that I have. Yes, it's a mini book. It is a mini book. I have all the product. I ordered all the product for the mini book kit in class like 2 months ago. So I'm good there. But yeah, they're sold out of a lot of it. So that's another example of, for the most part, the inventory I have now in my store on my website for Simple Vintage Cottage. Yeah, yes, we know. Cottage Fields. It's got 4 names. There are some things that are completely gone, or very close to being gone because Simple Stories is sold out. So another example of best not to wait. All right, so I will probably stay away from, I think what I'm going to do, all right. Remember when I said save these little strips? Oh, you haven't missed it yet. The mini book, well, I thought it was going to be this week. Honestly, it's probably now going to be next week. Yeah. So it'll go up next week and then probably start shipping the first week of March. It usually goes up 1 or 2 weeks before it starts shipping. So yes, just watch for that. And that's always a crapshoot, you guys. I never know how many to order. And for now, they're going to be gone. So, I mean, not they're going to be gone. I mean, once I'm sold out of them, I won't be able to make any more because Simple Stories is sold out. Diane, thank you for joining us. All right. So what I'm going to do, Kim, when I asked Lil for a date, she basically told me to let her take a breath for Pete's sake. There's been a lot of working going on. It's not bad, but yeah, I'm one of those people that I bet, and it's all me. It's all me. It's all my own thing. But I'd say probably 80 hours a week I work. And again, it's my own business, so I can do what I want. But yeah, so Nick made me promise. Here, okay, we're squirreling for a minute, friends. So yes, if you want to go to bed, do whatever you'd like. But we're squirreling for a minute. Nick is my husband. Gosh, I'd say a month or 6 weeks ago, I said, Nick, we need to get out of town, even though we really aren't going anywhere. We're not flying or staying at a hotel or anything. But in the fall, I live in Utah, and Utah has 6 or 7 national parks. It is an amazing place. And so we are driving down to one of the national parks, actually this Sunday. It's Zion's National Park, and we are staying in the park in a cabin in the park, I think for 3 nights, 4 days. But Nick made me promise. He's like, don't you dare put anything new up in the store, like a kit, before we go, which he means this week. So I'm like, okay, yeah, so it'll be next week. The reason is because then there's just a lot of work to get all of that ready, and he didn't want me to be distracted because we're trying to get away for a reason. And if I'm distracted, then it's not good. All right, scroll time over. So I'm taking this little border sticker from the bottom. I think I'm definitely going to go a little bit more of the spring bloom kind of setup for March. So I'm taking this cute little sticker and I'm pretending like it's washi. So it'll go right there. And I'm going to have it go about right here, and I'm going to rip it off just like I would if it was washi, right? I would rip washi, so I'd rip that. But then I'm taking this piece. That is the product strip, and I did the exact same thing. I ripped it off. So if I want to layer that on top of that, it looks like I'm layering washi. That strip, that little product strip, at least in the Simple Stories product strips, is about the width of standard roll of washi, which is about 15 millimeters. So again, I'm using a sticker like it's washi, and I'm using this like it's washi. Now I still have washi left over from my little popsicle stick. So if I wanted, I could probably use that too. Now here's the thing, when you do something like this, well, I pretty much just covered up the 30th and the 31st, right? So I know I'm not going anywhere for that, but if you had birthdays or something like that, I'd have enough room to still kind of write that in. All right, so let's see what else we have. Lovely day, bloom here. Love makes everything grow. I kind of like these little guys, these little like hunter boots. And maybe this little, so if those kind of go like that, like there, and that goes there. Let's see what else we have. This little goose is kind of cute. I don't know. I mean, the little goose could really go anywhere. Now he's not Easter, so he can be whatever kind of goose he wants to be. Right there. And this little butterfly would be cute. Maybe right there. And we just add a few. You know what? This guy is just not, this is not working. The goose doesn't really work anywhere. So, sorry, goose. Sorry, maybe another time. We'll put that there. Bloom here would be cute. See, the nice thing about March is we have a bunch of blank days. So we could put that there. I know, right? Vaccinations marked on our calendars by the end of March. Yeah, right. Let's see what else we have. I kind of like, so the "you are sunshine" part doesn't really work for me, but I kind of like the sunshine part. So sunshine, I'm just going to put probably right about there. And I need to say, I wish there was sunshine. Sometimes that's how it feels, huh? And then I have all these little stickers that can kind of go on some of the days. I have all of these word strip stickers, which I love because look you can just like pop a little word strip sticker there. You can grab a little heart and maybe we'll put that little heart right there. Happy spring. We're getting to spring. Let's see. Rainbows. Go right there. Follow the sunshine. Yes. That could kind of go right there. So I'm just decorating, right? I'm just taking some of the extra stickers that we didn't use and decorate. And that's probably, oh, that little sunshine one is sure cute. Although I have a couple sunshines, so no, we won't use him. Let's see. Maybe just like one more thing. Oh, Happy Day, that's cute. Happy Day. Oh, Happy Day I have there too. Nope, no Happy Day. All right, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's how it's going to sit. Tiny shamrock from one of our sticker sheets. Yes, you can probably find a shamrock, right? Which day is the shamrock? I mean, you know what I mean. Which day is St. Patrick's Day? Because guess what? Look at right here. That is like a green heart. So even though it's not, even though 17th, okay, look at, beep, right there. Now there's my green heart on St. Patrick's Day. All right, so just a little bit of decorating, just use some of our stickers and to make it cute so that when there are things that I can write in March, actually I can write birthdays. I have things I could write in there. But yeah, so that's just generally how I like to finish. I use more of my stickers in there. And if I was using my weekly inserts, I could add little stickers in throughout the week as I'm working, just to help, add a little bit of extra fun to my month or my week or my day if I'm using daily or my notes or whatever. Okay, friends, so there is our setup. I am going to, oh good, Rashida. Yeah, I think Rashida, it's funny, you guys, because I had a feeling she was a little bit behind where we were. So at some point, either she paused and then continued again, which is always funny. I always need to remember when someone asks a question, I always assume they're where we are. All right, I'm going to flip the camera, so bear with me a sec. I need to unplug. And then it's gotten much darker now, so I'll look a little yellow, maybe. Ooh, Okay, there we go. All right, friends, so that was fun. I hope that you enjoyed it, especially those of you that are new. I hope you had fun. One thing to remember with these kits, the no written instructions, this is what we do. We all get together and we play. Just because I decorate mine a certain way doesn't mean, oh good, Rashida, you rewound and caught up. So you're with us, good. I'm glad you found the card. But you do you. If you want to switch things up, if you want to use a different side of the paper, if you want to use different stickers, you absolutely should. This one is mine. Well, I should say these two because I have two are mine. Yes, do you want the duplicate? It's funny because I always have two of everything I do. And sometimes more than two, because if it's a class that I teach more than once, sometimes I have 3 or 4 of something, which is kind of funny because then I'm like, what do I do with all these? Anyhow, I know what I was saying. This one's mine. If yours looks like mine, that's awesome. But if yours looks like yours, then that's awesome. So you make it work, you do what you like to do, and then we're all happy. Okay, friends, I may be seeing some of you on Thursday night, because Thursday night, I have the Happiest Place on Earth, Traveler's Notebook. See, I just kind of put those two together. The Happiest Place on Earth Traveler's Notebook Kit class. So if you ordered that, then I will see you on Thursday. If not, I hope to see you on Saturday. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about on Saturdays, you should totally join us. Every Saturday I do free on my YouTube channel session from 9 a.m. Pacific until a couple of hours later. And we do lists. So if you don't know about that and you want to know more, just shoot me an email and I will send you a link so you can kind of check it out. But we all just kind of hang out, and it's a lot like this, except you don't have a kit and I'm working on something and you're watching what I do, and you may be doing something similar or not. Yeah, I know, Kim, a couple of hours. I think this last Saturday was the longest one. I think we were like 3 hours and 45 minutes, but it's just crafty time. It's just fun crafty time, right? All right, friends, it is 8:30 my time, 8:30 Utah time. So I know some of you are long in bed and you may come back and watch this later. So I hope you had a good night's sleep. But those of you, especially if you're California, you're like, oh my gosh, it's only 7:30. So enjoy the rest of your evening, enjoy the rest of your week. And the mom part of me comes out. So wear your mask, stay safe, social distance, wash your hands. And if I don't see you Thursday and I don't see you Saturday, then I hope to see you. Well, I should for sure at least see you next month when we set up April. So have fun with your Traveler's Notebook in the meantime, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.